Hello everybody and welcome to the Kholiwe Cooks channel. If you're new, please ensure that you subscribe. Today we are making fish bites with homemade tartar sauce. So this is the end product and let us get started with today's recipe. Our ingredient list is as follows: hake fillets that don't have bones, just have the skin on, some cake flour or normal flour, some lemon zest, mixed herbs, salt, baking powder, black pepper and garlic powder, and also ice cold water. Needs to be ice cold. I am using tablespoons, 5 tablespoons of, well, this is 4 tablespoons of the flour, and then I will follow that up with the baking powder. I will use half a teaspoon of the baking powder here. There we go. In fact, it's even less than that. A whole teaspoon of the mixed herbs and half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. That is our dry ingredients for the batter. Lastly, we have the garlic powder, a whole teaspoon of that. Then I zest the lemon. I'm not using the lemon juice on the batter, I'll just use the zest of it. I would say about half a teaspoon of zest. Make sure you don't get the pith, which is the white part of the lemon, because it tends to be quite bitter. So just zest that on there. Lemon zest is quite fragrant, and it is for this reason that I have added a bit of it here, because I feel the zest in the batter will come together with the bit of lemon juice that we use at the end when we are making the tartar sauce. So this just makes it, gives us this freshness, gives my batter the freshness that it needs. So we add ice cold water. I repeat, this is ice cold water, a whole cup to the 4 tablespoons of flour and the mentioned ingredients. So I just whisk that using a little teaspoon. You can use a fork as well. So the aim here is to just mix through quickly, not to make it too smooth. I also realized that my mixture was a bit watery at first, so I added another tablespoon of flour. That makes it a total of 5. As you can see, I have not really stressed about it fully incorporating, because you don't want to overmix this mixture. It needs to stay light and fluffy. And I add my little hake medallions onto hot oil. As you can see, mine is extremely hot, but I don't stress too much, because a lot of times the initial temperature is quite high, but it does get a bit lower, because obviously you're adding this cold ingredients onto it. So you'll see it does become less explosive as we go along. So I am just going to do this in batches, because I want to make sure that none of the medallions stick together. And this process is quite fast, especially because I am using this really hot oil. But I remove these from the oil soon as they get some color on them. The reason for this is I am refrying them, so it's not really a problem. I made sure that I put them aside until they cool slightly, and then I re-dip them in the batter. So they go in the batter twice, once before the first fry, which is a really quick one, and then again after they've cooled down a bit, they get into the batter again and back to the hot oil for frying. So this is repetitive, but this ensures a nice coating of the batter on the little fish bites. and it also just ensures that these fish bites are nice and crispy at the end. And I promise you they really turn out well with the 2 frying process. So as you know, this is a tempura style batter, not really as light as tempura, but because of the kind of batter it is, as you can see, whenever I put the medallions in, there's a lot of just loose batter that gets fried on the side. Just try to get rid of it from the oil, because it will cook and become really dark and stick to your medallions and ruin the look of them. So I do get rid of them. Once it gets a bit of color and it's golden brown, I remove and set aside on a paper towel that is on a wire rack. This ensures that we don't end up with oily and soggy medallions at the end. So this process just drains all the oil, all the excess oil from the medallions, and it results in really nice crunchy outside and non-oily to the touch. So as mentioned earlier, we do work in batches. Don't overcrowd the pot, because that results in your fish medallions not having enough space to move and properly get coated and get nice color on both sides. So I was very careful to make sure that the space all over for my medallions. So you'd rather take longer, but do it correctly. As always, getting rid of the excess batter that is frying on the side to ensure that we have a consistent coloring on the fish. So you are just looking for it to get nice and golden brown. As you know, this is the second frying of these, and they are literally as crispy as they look. So I like them just slightly golden brown. I don't want them to go too dark, but obviously this will go according to preference at this stage. I promise you, as much as they are nice and light in color, they're extremely sounds bad. They are nicely crisp and crunchy on the outside, and the fish is properly cooked inside, so it's nice and soft. And that is it. Now we move on to the making of our tartar sauce. Extremely easy. I am using store-bought mayonnaise. I have not made my own. I will use 3 tablespoons of your favorite mayonnaise. I am using Hellmann's. I've also used Cross and Blackwell in the past, and then 1 tablespoon of onion that has been finely minced. That's very important. Also finely chopped parsley, about 1 tablespoon. I will leave very little for the garnish at the end. 1/4 of a lemon goes in, just the juice of that lemon, so just squeeze that out and then just stir. I'm just going to stir that through until it's nice and smooth and fully incorporated. The key to tartar sauce is that it must be nicely balanced with sweetness, with freshness, and the tang. So I add 1/2 tablespoon of maple syrup to my tartar sauce. That is to add that little bit of the sweet element that is going to be so important in making this balanced and nice to use as a dipping sauce for our hake. Believe you me, this little step does help. Just plonking mayonnaise on a little bowl is not good enough. So as always, just quickly garnish with the remaining parsley from earlier. So we are done. I think this tartar sauce is literally the best accompaniment to these fish bites. It has a nice tangy taste and a lot of the freshness coming through from the lemon. And you can't really tell that there's maple syrup in there because I put quite a little, but it being there does make this tartar sauce more balanced, most certainly. So we are done for the day, guys. You garnish as you'd like, and you obviously serve however you like, maybe with chips, or yeah, you just go crazy with it. But this is exactly how I had it for lunch with my tartar sauce. Nothing else, nothing more. Very, very tasty and very simple to make. Very excited about this, guys. That's the end of our video for today. Thank you so much for watching again. Please do subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and comment, give me feedback. I love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at Kholiwe_cooks. Thank you.